Fleming customers are very loyal to our brand. We have many repeat buyers, customers who have bought 3 or 4 or 5 Flemings. We have one customer who's had 6 boats. I think there's a couple of reasons for this.
It is my 4th Fleming. Have never found anything more well-built, engineered, constructed as a Fleming. And because of that, I've bought 3 more.
Well, first of all, it's its classic, timeless design that never goes out of fashion. An example of that is the Fleming 55 is now being built for 40 years.
Whilst the exterior styling of every Fleming is timeless, it's classic, it's what's on the inside which is always changing. The latest technology, cutting edge spec and the highest standard specification in the industry.
I was on the back deck and saw the most beautiful boat coming down the fairway, and it was, I didn't know what it was. Our dockmate said, that's the Fleming.
We build up to about 15 Fleming yachts a year, so it's not mass production. Every boat is hand-built and every boat is bespoke, depending on the customer's needs. Now they hand-build every boat and build the cabinetry into the structure of the boat to make it, which adds to the structural integrity. So that's why these boats literally last a lifetime. I mean, the first ever Fleming built, 50 No. 1, is still on the water today.
Redundancy was one of the key features we looked for in a boat, and having a backup steering system, having dual water pumps, and having a backup air conditioning pump. Everything that we need, we have to live. We have a redundant system, and that was a key component for us.
Every Fleming is built to a set of very strict standards. We build to the CE Category A and also to ABYC standards. And what this means is that every model has to be inspected by a third party annually in order to maintain our compliance. It was customer feedback that led us to develop the Fleming 85. Our customers are all very adventurous people. They love cruising long distances. They wanted more range and more space, and so on and so on. So taking all that feedback, that's how we put our design brief together for the 85. And we're absolutely thrilled at how well our new flagship has been received. Performance, figures, the fuel efficiency, everything exceeded our expectations, and we're really thrilled with that.
We cruised all over the Bahamas, up to Maine and back, and absolutely loved the boat. The enclosed fly bridge made way more sense. As well as the idea with crew on the boat, we can use the enclosed bridge as another sitting area, TV viewing area. We used it this summer as our gym. And secondly, we want to travel to colder destinations.
All the Fleming yachts that we've built since 1985 have had an open flybridge design. It was a design challenge to get that enclosed flybridge looking good and fitting with the Fleming lines, but Norman Wrights and Sons, the naval architects, really nailed it.
One of the early 85s, it was delivered into the UK. It's already completed a season in the Med, cruising in the Med, and has just crossed the Atlantic to the Caribbean. Actually, the Atlantic crossing, the ability to do that really proved our design. Some exciting news this year. We've recently acquired a new factory. We're moving the production of our Fleming 85 into a new state-of-the-art facility, significantly larger, significant investment. We're in this for the long term.
We went off to the Bahamas, absolutely confident in the boat and the boat's abilities. as my husband will say, you know, this boat can take so much more than I can. And it was just a great boat.
When we designed the 85, the standard specification was very important to us. We wanted to make sure that everything that would be needed for safe, efficient cruising was included and well thought out, well installed. And now, quite a few of those ideas are migrating across to our other models. So we see on every model now, for instance, the twin disc EJS system with the joystick control, the position hold feature. Some of the interior design features, slightly more contemporary. Horizontal teak grain, cleaner flush cabinetry. It's down to personal taste, but we're now able to offer that across the board on all our models. So, for example, on the 65, we now have docking stations on either side of the Portuguese bridge with the joystick controls again. That was another example of a design feature which we perfected on the 85 and were then able to move across to the other models. Let me show you the new docking station. It's hinged up, stays in place there, and here we have the EJS joystick and the EPS display. This allows us to put the boat into position hold mode, and I can see the whole side of the boat fore and aft. Makes docking very, very simple and safe.
Well, the dream was really about freedom, and our boat's given us freedom on your own boat, in your own home, in a foreign country is a surreal experience. It's just amazing. One of our most recent new developments is the Fleming 60. It's a new version or a variant of the 58. So it has the same hull as a 58, which is well proven now. We've delivered 45 58s in the last 10 years. But the 60, slightly longer, has a raised California deck on the aft deck, which gives us enough headroom below for a crew cabin. And this was something that had been requested by an existing customer. So it was nice to take his idea and develop that, and the first boat's now cruising in Europe. We don't make changes from model year to model year. We make changes from hull to hull. One of the most important aspects of our business is our dealer network. For over 40 years, Burr Yacht Sales have operated their business out of Edgewater in Maryland. This is Burr Yacht Sales South in Stuart, Florida. It's a perfect location. It's on the ICW. A lot of Fleming owners will cruise in a season from Maine in the north all the way down to Florida, the Bahamas, the Caribbean. So this is the ideal stopping point for service on the way, and Burr Yacht Sales will look after all their customers at either location depending on the time of year.
And of course the service and sales at Burr Yacht Sales and the training that they give you, and they stay with you throughout the entire time you have the boat. They'll do anything to help you if you have a problem. If the boat has an issue, you can call them any time of day.
They put their cell phone numbers on the inside of a cabinet that you can access at any time.
The resale value has been very good, and that's been a big factor. I have never held one of the Flemings after it's been put on the market just for a matter of weeks before it sells, and usually you have multiple offers, and that's been my experience with them.
I think there was a rule of thumb back in the day that you could expect your boat to depreciate by 10% per year, and depending upon market conditions at the time, that was pretty true. The Fleming, it was the opposite of that. I would buy and sell the boat for pretty much the same price, whether it was new or used.
Unlike any other boat that I've seen, the value holds up over time because you do have a similar exterior to the boats. And so year to year, our boat is a 2012, as I mentioned, and every time I dock it, someone will say, is that a new boat? And it's 12 years old, 13 years old. So they do hold their value, and I think if you calculated it, it'd be something like 2% a year.
the Fleming definitely kept its value. The 55, I think we kept it a year and didn't change a nickel on it.
Yeah.
And then the 58, you know, was a really good value for us, and I think with whom we, you know, who we bought it from, he was real happy with his, you know, his sale price. We were happy, and so yeah, I think the Fleming holds its value really well.
Yeah, definitely.
Compared to other types of boats. Yeah.
I don't know how they do it with a resale value. I really, truly don't. Other than they have a great reputation, they take care of the boats, and you know when you buy a Fleming and it's been serviced by these guys, you're not going to have problems.
Tony Fleming's my uncle, and he invited me to join the company back then in '98, 27 years ago. And then Duncan joined a few years later, and he basically taught us everything we know about boat building.
In 2006, Tony Fleming officially retired. That's when Adi and I took ownership in the business, and we've continued to follow his principles. And the boats are still being built in the same original factory where Tony started nearly 40 years ago. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.